Heute freue ich mich total, zwei Gäste begrüßen zu können in Vancouver, Kanada. Julia Úlehla und Aram Bajakian. Hello guys, welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you.
Oh, it's great to have you here. It's really nice, even though we have this distance and these problems we are facing now, to be able to come together and play. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's like an experiment of encounter, how to encounter in the quarantine.
Yeah. So before we talk a little bit, why not start with some music?
Okay.
That's okay with you?
Yeah.
So would you announce the title, Julia? Because I think
Sure.
I'm not able to.
Yeah, no problem. So the first song we're going to do, it's called Semchatsos Piachaite, and it tells a story. So all of the songs that we'll do were transcribed by my great-grandfather. And this one, he transcribed two men singing it, and it's a kind of war lamentation where it says, "Hurry, boys, come over. Our commander has a wound in his side, and it's already turning blue. Oy, oy, oy." And every strophe has this oy, oy, oy at the end.
Is this the one with the larmo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so nice to play with you, Achim.
Same here, Julia. Thank you.
It's so beautiful. Yeah.
So
I can't believe this works. It kind of blows my mind that this actually works.
Same here. I have to tell, well, we can tell everybody, we had really problem to get this going until like 5 minutes before we started the broadcasting. Anyway, we are here and we can play. It's beautiful. Listen, there's some question I was thinking about, or some things that came to my mind when I listened to your music and I read a little bit about your work. So the first thing that struck me was I understand that you have family roots in Moravia, of course, and that's Straznica, is that right? Is the pronunciation? Straznica is like...
Straznica.
I'll try.
It's okay.
By the end
it's okay.
Straznica.
No, it's difficult.
Is the home of your great-grandfather. But then when I looked deeper into the whole thing, I found out that Straznica is not only the home of your great-grandfather, but it's a real place where a lot of music happened apart from that. So like kind of a center. And I wondered how can this be that this little town becomes such a like center for a whole region?
Yeah, well, I can tell you a little bit. So in southeast Moravia, it's like right at the border of Czech Republic and Slovak Republic, not so far from Austria. There's an ethnographic region that, since the composer Leoš Janáček and even before, people have been very interested in the folk culture there. And scholars have speculated that because it's such a seam, like this meeting of East and West, and the repertoire there is really diverse. Like my great-grandfather, he was a biologist, but also an ethnomusicologist. And like, for example, one of the things he looked at was mode. There's so many different modes in the songs that are there. And it's kind of a remote area. It's right in the foothills of the Bílé Karpaty, the White Carpathians. And so I think, and in some ways it connects to other folk culture in this Carpathian crescent. But you have this kind of Hungarian Slovak influence, the Germanic influence, the Bohemian Moravian influence, and even Croatian populations, French populations. Everyone was living there. And so the folk culture is really vibrant. And even still it is. And partly that has to do with Vladimir. He helped co-found the largest folk festival that is in the Czech lands now, which is in Strážnice, the Strážnice International Folklore Festival. And he wrote this book called Živá píseň, which means living song. And he had this idea, as a biologist, he had this idea that songs were related to their environment. And it was that idea that sort of inspired this whole work that we're doing. So it's the folk culture, it's like this symbiotic entity of place and people, and even the work of scholars and ethnographers who somehow make it a privileged entity. Or, I mean, like Herder and Johann Gottfried Herder, and all of this work with folk song, and when it suddenly became this treasure, like national treasure. And it's complicated because of all of this politics and things, but
yeah. And then there's apart from Strážnice, if you go more west, there's the Bohemian culture, which is completely different. Like, I mean, I'm not a specialist, but what I researched and found in the net, you have all those brass bands playing these dance pieces.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have the feeling there must be like thousands of kilometers between, but it's just like over the river, kind of.
Exactly.
Well, actually, related to the bass, I was speaking to a bassist in Brno, our friend Jakob, who told me depending on the village he's playing in Moravia, he has to bow with a different feel because each village has their own.
Even by 1 kilometer.
Yeah,
it's like there's a world of difference.
Wow.
Yeah. It's super variegated.
Yeah.
Like really manifold.
That's amazing. And is that like when you go down there, is that the people kind of think it's, or they really want their music played this way? So how would they receive what you are doing actually, because you transport it to another place?
Yeah, I still don't know. I think last summer they gave us a big, it felt to me like a really heartfelt welcome, and they invited us to play at this folk festival, which is in some way a kind of epicenter of orthodoxy. It's like people, and not to say it's not creative or that they're not experimenting, because they are, and there's some people who really are, but it is a place where music and life completely seamlessly coexist. And because it's like breathing, people have very strong ideas about how it should be. And so, we played there, and it was amazing. And people were so big-hearted and really so sweet to us. But I also sometimes encounter people who are really angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's normal. That it should be like this. That's okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. I think so. And I don't know, for me, something interesting is like, can we love the same thing, and you love it in the way you love it, and I love it in the way I love it, and he loves it in the way he loves it, and that those things don't have to cancel each other out, but can somehow coexist.
Yeah. And that's again is so interesting to this, that it's so special, just this little place where all this music comes from, and then it has all those different pictures that evolve when we let the music grow. In this book of your great grandfather, there's this thing where he meditates. That's what I wrote. I didn't read the whole book, but I wrote some quotes where he meditates about should the music be protected, like UNESCO Welterbe or something like this. And he said no, it shouldn't. Right. We should just give it a chance to survive.
Yeah. And I think he was also a kind of radical experimenter in his own way, too. He had this idea that the village and like the people who live in this place have to keep it going. It can't be just like one composer who does it. But that being said, he also made all these collaborations with intellectuals in Europe and French poets. Henry Cowell, the composer, came to Stražnice and Velka and was like transcribing songs with Vladimir. So there was this kind of conversation between the avant-garde, or between, I don't know, even, I hate the term high culture and folk culture, but just a mixing of different environments and frameworks, ways of knowing, let's say.
I understand. Also, I read about Leo Janacek, who was also transcribing a lot of music, especially in that region, and using it in his works.
Yeah, actually, the opera Jenůfa takes place in this region.
Okay.
Even. It's funny.
Yeah. So, shall we do another song?
Yeah. Do you want to try the new one?
The one with the bass?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so this one, we'll try a new one. Aram and I, we recorded this a long time ago, well, like 2011, but recently, like in the last month, it started coming again in this totally different way. And I think part of our work is to see how it is the song wants to be. And so it's like all of a sudden, almost to give agency to the song and say, how do you want to go, song? Not so much like I decide this would be cool or I want to do this, but it's, almost like a conjuring of the song in some way. And so we never tried this really with you, Achim, but hopefully it will work. And this one, it tells the story of a girl who was so beautiful, the only one who was so beautiful, like a rose. And she comes out into the world and she's crying. And the boy says to her, don't cry. We will be together. The whole family wants it. Even God wants it. And then there's this kind of alchemical tale where he says, you will take the high road and I will take the low road. You will manifest as one kind of rose. I will manifest as another kind of rose. And then when they bury us, there will be golden letters on our grave that says, here was a love that lasts for like a never-ending love.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're deep. These songs are deep.
Yeah, I know.
dziewczyna wyszła jedyna jak różowy kwiat. Stala ona stala, choćca zaplakala, zmienił się i świat. Czego ty placzesz, czego ty narzekasz, dziewczyno moja? Jak ja nie mam płakać, jak nie mam narzekać, nie budu twoja. Ach, nie płacz, nie narzekaj, jak ty budesz ma. Ludzie ty milczają, a cała rodzina, a Pan Bóg to da. Ty pójdziesz choru, a ja dolino. Ty zakwitniesz różu, a ja kalino. Aż mi umrzemy, skażemy sobie. Zlate litery, wybita chorobie. Kto to przeczyta, kto przeczyta, wspomnę sobie. Nieskończona laska leży w tym grobie. Kto to przeczyta, wspomnę sobie. Nieskończona laska leży w tym grobie. Kto to przeczyta, wspomnę sobie. Nieskończona laska leży w tym grobie. It's spooky. There's like something very, I don't know. It's like, it has such a particular quality. Anyway.
Yeah. Ooh. I have to come back.
Yeah, me too.
That was so beautiful.
Yeah, me too.
There's so many things I was thinking about. I forgot most of them now. But one thing there's also so many all those poetic stories, all those magic in the not only in the stories but in the music and the connection between both elements, the lyrics and the music. I keep thinking about that, especially since you, or now actually it's us, because I start to be part of it at the moment.
Yeah.
We take it out from somewhere. And again, there's this saying I liked so much of your great-grandfather when he wrote that folk music grows organically out of the contours of its origin or something. I'm not sure if I cited right. So that it actually belongs to this place. But now we take it out, and we now at the moment we don't even have another landscape to offer to the song, because we are in this media, in this weird sonic ecosystem. Which brings me, you probably think about, which brings me to another question. I read that about this project, the Sonic Ecosystem. Is there something you're still working on, or?
Yeah, I mean, a kind of attention to ecosystems and interrelationships undergirds everything that I do. And even if you think about, yes, we're in this virtual space, but not only, like, you carry with you all of your lived experiences in different places and different kinds of enculturation that have their mark on your person, as do we. And so I think, if anything, what I find so generous about what my great-grandfather said is that it kind of points the way to pay attention to where you are, wherever that might be, and to be like, how can I be in relationship to this place? And so now it's true. I mean, we transplanted the songs. It violates all manner of purity or authenticity, but it's my heritage. Like, it's my father. I mean, it's like kind of grappling with the fact that everyone to some extent is a hybrid, and we all have these kind of ruptured relationships to place. And when there's a folk culture like this, which has somehow been in a specific place for a long time, I don't think that's reason enough that you should only keep it there. Like, why not see how it lives elsewhere? And obviously, that's what music does. There's an ethnomusicologist, Bruno Nettel, who said, I think songs are the best travelers in the world. It's like, of course it's gonna move. And now we're doing this virtual thing. But my attention as I'm singing can still really be on trying to be in relation with as many things as possible, whether that's like my husband who's sitting here next to me, like making these beautiful sounds, or it's like you in Germany, the neighbor of this country where the songs come from, like with your amazing improvisation skills and warmth and bringing this to the music. So I guess it's sort of like saying yes to whatever configuration you find yourself inside of. And Sonic Ecosystems, that was a piece we did a couple of years ago. And I would say now one of the things we're going to do at Monheim is in collaboration with these botanical and ethnographic films that my great-grandfather made, where he innovated this stop motion capture of plants growing. So it sort of gives this view to the behavior and movement of plants, of organisms that the human eye doesn't normally get to see them behave in this way. And so again, it's looking for these kinds of connections across life forms and relationships across life forms, relationships with a kind of musical ecosystem. Does that make sense?
Oh, perfectly.
I'm also in like PhD dissertation land, and so my brain is, yeah. I hope that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense to me, especially when I make a step back again to the stories you were referring to that are in the lyrics. Now you sing it in Czech, of course, and we don't understand. I mean, I cannot understand the words. Of course, then I can read it in the liner notes. But I think it's
Yeah.
interesting how the stories still translate in the music, and nowadays, or in other ecosystems, or in other surroundings, are transported through the music, and should be and
Yeah.
have to be transported through the music, because the words are actually not enough to tell them. And there's another
It's
thing.
one layer.
Yeah, and there's another thing I was thinking when I read the lyrics. There are so many. I remember, or it makes me think of so many like mystic stories, not only from this area, but like from ancient Greece. There's this thing where the mother sends away, or the daughter marries this snake in the river. You know?
Yeah.
And then-
I love
so I
that
was thinking
story.
about Orpheus
snake
and
husband.
Eurydice, this Greek myth. I don't know how to say
Yeah.
it in English.
Orpheus and Eurydice.
Right. So when
Yeah.
and she goes out and she cannot come back, and so it's kind of the same thing. So there's the heritage is not only yours; it's more like our heritage in common that we try to.
It's like a human planetary heritage, or
Yeah.
like what it is to be a human with other species on a living, biotic planet. And it's true, there's many communications between animals and people, or spirits and people, and it's this whole interrelational cosmology.
Yeah, cool. Before we come to more details, let's play a little bit more.
Okay.
How
Should we
about?
try Nicht pan level crowd?
Okay.
No, tell me.
Well, I was
No,
thinking
say-
about the rocks begin to crumble.
Oh yeah. Let's try it. I hope that'll work.
I hope so too. It's
Yeah.
another adventure, but
Yeah.
we can talk about it later. I have a little special relation to that song.
Okay. So this song talks about, there's a young man, and he says, when I was walking through the mountains and when I was walking through the green valleys, suddenly the rocks started to crumble all around me. I saw my love, and she reached out her hand, and she told me that she was going to be married. And it's very confusing. Is she marrying him? Is she marrying someone else? But there's this shattering of reality. And then he says, go get married, my love, my golden heart. I will not take a wife. I've received a cerulenka, a note, a little note. And that's such a Czech thing. This, like, I don't know in German if you have this way of diminutizing cerulenka, a little note, and I have to go to war.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah.
Just give us a second out there.
Songs are so amazing because they're never the same twice.
That's true.
They go so far. It's like a whole universe is inside them. And you can go so far with something that is so small. It never ceases to humble and astound me.
Yeah. I don't know so much to say right now. It's difficult to pick up again. There are still things going through my mind, but actually they don't really seem to be very important at the moment. Just right now. So many things I was writing down and thinking to prepare this session today. And then, as you say, it turns out completely different.
Yeah. And switching between those cognitions can sometimes be difficult.
Yeah, that's true.
Of like interviewer and musician.
Or interviewed and musician. Yeah. I just have to say something, just two words in German. Entschuldigt bitte, wenn ich immer da runterschaue, aber für mich sind Sie jetzt gerade da und ihr seid da. Es ist ein bisschen, ich muss irgendwie gucken, wie ich das hinkriege. So I don't know, should we just play a little more and then let's say we hope that the whole Triennale can happen, even though we have the epidemic and we have all these problems. We still hope that it could work, and it would be so great to see you here in Monheim in some months.
We're looking forward. I hope it will be.
Yeah.
We will see. We will react as we need to.
That's what we're gonna do. We keep doing what we are doing, and yeah. So let's finish with another
so excited about all the different artists getting to see. Like, it's gonna be so fun to perform, but also to get to see so much great music, and I imagine many late night beers.
Well, you bet, Aram. And then again, that comes back to what we said before. You know, all those people come from different musical environments and musical worlds, come together and still will be in the same festival and in the same space and somehow work on the same thing in a way, even though the sounds are so different. Let's see. So you have another one?
Yeah, let's see. So we can end on a positive note, or we can end on an existential note.
What's the positive note?
Yeah, I think so too. That would be a good thing.
You think positive or existential?
I think positive.
Positive.
Yeah,
Okay. I know. Yeah, it's like, Okay, so this one, it just goes, it's between like E and D, right?
I think so, yeah.
Is that the Studenka?
No. This one, it's called the Divinia Moja Mamienka Stara. It's grass is the way that we poetically translated it. It's like quite simple. I think we can, it just sort of moves between these two harmonic areas.
E minor and D major.
E minor, D major. And this is one of the songs, Vladimir, my great-grandfather, as you were saying, Achim, about a song having as a kind of reflection of the topography or of the landscape. And so he made this beautiful analysis with this song and talking about how these alluvial hills and fields that flood in the springtime and then have these wildflowers and grasses, and you can see quite far. And so people often were singing outside, and still, I mean, in folk festivals and things like that. But he thought that the melody was a way to penetrate into the distance of these hills. And so it has these really long arcing melodies. And the song is sung by a girl who I guess is like a teenager who hasn't even known love yet, but is somehow wishing for it. And she says, oh, if only my mother would give me this job to go cut grass, I would do such a good job and I would get a really big basket full. But she doesn't give me this job. She prefers to do it herself. But there's no grass in the field or in the outfield because all the boys from Petrov, which is the village next to Strajnice, they're excellent plowmen and they plowed everything. So it's like she wants to go meet the boys, and I don't know. She's such this woman who I imagine her as she sang this song is so full of this optimism and kind of possibility for life and for love and for iteration and generation. And yeah, so may this be like a healing for all that is going wrong as we do this meeting.
Let's go for it. you very much. Thank you,
Thank you
Julia.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Aram.
Achim.
Thank you, everybody, for being with us. Vielen Dank fürs Zuhören, vielen Dank fürs Dabeisein. As I said, I say goodbye, and we stay in touch, and we definitely hope to welcome you in Monheim in some weeks, some months. Take good care.
Yeah, you
You
too.
too.
Everyone take care.
Yeah.
Everyone
Be
take-
healthy.
All the
Yeah.
best to Vancouver.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.